press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello dear students, a very big hi to you all and welcome back to the class. In the last session, we were discussing about reflex action. We completely understood what reflex action is, the reflex arc, the components of the reflex arc, followed by few examples. We also understood that in a day, we don't perform every action reflexively. Most of the cases, we perform actions consciously. We perform voluntary actions, and also there are so many involuntary movements too. As we are thinking beings, we think, we make decisions, and we then react, we then respond. So as thinking is a complex mechanism and involves many neural connections, the regions, the centers for all these things are concentrated in brain. Reflex action is the main task performed by spinal cord. Although spinal cord is involved in reflex action, it is also to some extent involved in thinking. But thinking is a very complex mechanism and involves several neural connections. Brain, the master, is the main coordinating center of our body. So, brain is involved in all these voluntary and involuntary movements. Brain has actually no role to play in reflex action. That is, it has no role to play in generating signals, in generating responses for reflex actions, but it gathers information. It will be aware of the reflex action. So, the main task of brain is performing voluntary and involuntary actions. The thinking, the main coordinating system of our body is the brain. So, now let's explore what brain is. Before that, I would like to remind you that what happened in spinal cord, what happened in reflex actions. During reflex actions, our sense organs receive information, receive stimulus from the external environment, and information is sent to spinal cord, and spinal cord again sends back signals via this intermittent neuron followed by motor neuron, and finally to the effectors. Effect is seen in effectors. Effectors are the muscles, is it not? So this is the first way wherein our nervous system communicates with the muscles during reflex action via spinal cord. There is a second way of responding, that is, brain also behaves, does or performs actions in a similar way. Brain as well receives information from the sense organs, receives stimulus from various sense organs. It receives information, interprets it, integrates it, and finally brain also has to send information to the muscles. This is the second way wherein our nervous system communicates with the muscles. So brain also, what it does, receives information, stimulus from the sense organs, processes it, integrates it, interprets it, takes decisions, and finally it decides what to do, what response to send, to which muscle the response must be sent. So all these things are done by brain. In a day we perform various voluntary activities like lifting a chair, lifting an object, moving a chair, writing down your assignments, listening to your favorite music, and chatting with your friends, and all these things are voluntary actions. And there are so many other involuntary movements taking place within our body, like respiration, heartbeats. These are the involuntary activities taking place in the body. So all these things are controlled and coordinated by our brain. So the second way through which our nervous system responds, or our nervous system communicates with the muscles. The first is during with the help of spinal cord during reflex actions. There is a communication established between our nervous system and the muscles, and also with the help of brain during voluntary and involuntary movements. The communication is established between the nervous system and the muscles. Finally, the effect is seen in muscles. For all these things to happen, there is another nervous system that facilitates it. We came to know that the central nervous system consists of the spinal cord and the brain, is it not? So, central nervous system is made up of CNS, or central nervous system constitutes brain and spinal cord. Spinal cord, And this communication between this brain, or the communication between the central nervous system or brain and rest part of the body, the other parts of the body, is facilitated by another nervous system called as peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system. So peripheral nervous system facilitates or establishes communication between the central nervous system and other parts of the body. This peripheral nervous system is composed of cranial nerves and spinal nerves. It is composed of cranial nerves and spinal nerves. Cranial nerves arise from brain, whereas spinal nerves arise from spinal cord. There are 12 pairs of cranial nerves and 31 pairs of spinal nerves. There are 12 pairs of cranial nerves and 31 pairs of spinal nerves. Peripheral nervous system is composed of cranial nerves and spinal nerves, and peripheral nervous system is the one that facilitates communication between the central nervous system and other parts of the body. So with this information we will move further. We will try to explore, as this thinking is a complicated mechanism, brain definitely must have a very complex design too. So now let's understand the design of the brain. Before that, we'll have a few information regarding brain. Brain weighs around 1200 to 1400 grams in human beings. It weighs around 1200 to 1400 grams in human beings. Brain is very neatly and perfectly protected by a bony structure called cranium or skull. It is protected by cranium or skull. So this is skull. The diagram which I have written on the board is incomplete because I haven't labeled it, I haven't written the name of the diagram. So meanwhile, while explaining the structure of the brain, I'll try to complete it. I told you that brain weighs around 1200 to 1400 grams, and brain is protected by a hard bony structure called as cranium. So this is cranium, the outermost part of the brain, cranium. So brain is protected by cranium, or it's also referred to as skull. Along with this, there is a fluid inside the brain. Is contained in a fluid filled balloon which provides shock absorption, and there is also another fluid called as cerebrospinal fluid. The cerebrospinal fluid is the one that flows between brain and spinal cord. Cerebrospinal fluid is the fluid that flows between brain and spinal cord. This is very, very important because this protects both brain and spinal cord. It protects brain from injuries, from trauma. It also provides nourishment. So I told you that brain is protected by cranium or skull, and there is a fluid called cerebrospinal fluid flowing between brain and spinal cord. It protects and it also provides nourishment. So now let's understand the design of the brain. Brain can be studied under three important regions. The first being the forebrain. The forebrain, F-O-R-E, the forebrain, the midbrain, and the hindbrain. The forebrain, the midbrain, and the hindbrain. In the diagram, let's see what forms the forebrain, what forms the midbrain, and what forms the hindbrain. This is the forebrain or the cerebrum. The forebrain covers 80% of the brain. That is, in the forebrain, we focus majorly on cerebrum. So this whole region, the yellow color, these lines, this whole region forms the cerebrum. This is cerebrum. This is followed by midbrain. This is midbrain. And this region forms hypothalamus. HYPOTHALLMUS, hypothalamus. This is pituitary. PITUITARY, pituitary gland. Pituitary gland, and followed by this region pons, PONS, followed by the medulla oblongata. This is medulla or medulla oblongata. Finally, the second largest part of the brain, that is cerebellum, CEREBELLUM. This is cerebellum. This is medulla, and pons, the pituitary, the hypothalamus, the midbrain, the cerebrum, and the skull. So here I have got to mention another important part, spinal cord. Medulla oblongata continues further as spinal cord. The cerebrum forms the forebrain. Cerebrum along with the diencephalon forms the forebrain. Whereas this is the midbrain, the middlemost part of the brain is midbrain. And midbrain is followed by, that is below the midbrain we find hypothalamus, and below it we find pituitary gland, which is very, very important. We will study about pituitary gland while we study endocrine system. And I need to mention another important part of brain, that is the hindbrain. Hindbrain, the pons, medulla oblongata and cerebellum, all of three together put together form hindbrain. So here I need to mention the name of the diagram. This is the brain or the human brain. So the human brain is covered by cranium or skull, and we have mentioned cerebrum, and here in our textbook it is referred to as a forebrain. In forebrain we come across cerebrum and diencephalon. So the forebrain is the main thinking part of our brain. The forebrain is the main thinking part of our brain. It has centers, specialized centers in this region, in the region of the forebrain. Forebrain has got many centers for receiving impulses from various sense organs. In a specialized regions, it has got centers to receive information from eyes, that is visual receptors, from ears, that is something related to hearing or auditory impulses, olfactory impulses, and gustatory impulses, and also impulses related to touch. It has got separate regions situated or located in the forebrain regions. So what it does, how it detects the forebrain being the main thinking part of the brain, what it does, it receives impulses, various impulses from various sense organs, integrates and interprets it. It interprets what is that, what is the signal I am receiving. It interprets and integrates with other information, with information gathered from the other sense organs. And finally what it does, it interprets it by also using the information already stored in the brain. ಸೊ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ಸಿಂದ ರಿಸೀವ್ ಮಾಡಿರುವಂಥ ಇಂಪಲ್ಸಸ್ನ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ ದ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್. ದ ಇಂಪಲ್ಸಸ್ ರೀಚ್ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಅದನ್ನು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಅನಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಅನಲೈಸಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್, ವಾಟ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಟ್, ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಯಾವ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನಿಂದ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರೋಂಥ ಸಿಗ್ನಲ್ ಇದು ಅಂತ ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ನಂತರ ಇನ್ನೂ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ಗೂ ಇದಕ್ಕೂ ಏನಾದರೂ ಹೋಲಿಕೆ ಇದೆಯಾ, ಸಂಬಂಧ ಇದೆಯಾ ನೋಡುತ್ತೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫೈನಲಿ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಪಾರ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂಥ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ನ ಪುಟ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್ ಆಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಫೈನಲಿ ಡಿಸೈಡ್ಸ್, ಏನಂತ ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಯಾವ ಥರದ ಇಂಪಲ್ಸ್ನ ನಾನು ಜನ್ರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಇದು ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಿರೋದು, ಯಾವ ಥರದ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಸ್ನ ನಾನು ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. Brain finally interprets and decides and sends signals as responses to the respective effectors. ಎಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು, ಫೈನಲಿ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ಬೇಕು, ಮಸಲ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ರಿಸೀವ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್, ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನನ್ನು ರಿಸೀವ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಫ್ರಮ್ ವೇರಿಯಸ್ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ಸ್, ರಿಸೆಪ್ಟಾರ್ಸಿಂದ ಅಂದರೆ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ಸಿಂದ. ಸೊ ಫೋರ್ ಬ್ರೈನಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇನ್ ಥಿಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಆಗಿ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಆಗಿರೋ ಸ್ಪಾಟಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಗನ್ಸಿಗೆ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ಗೆ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ರಿಸೆಪ್ಟಾರ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂತೆ ಸೆಂಟರ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾವ ಸೆಂಟರ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ಅದು ಇಂಟರ್ಪ್ರಿಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಫೈನಲಿ ಬಿಫೋರ್ ಟೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ಇಟ್ interprets with the information already stored in the brain and finally generates responses, signals na generate ಮಾಡಿ effectorsಗೆ, to the effectors, to the muscles, the particular information is sent, ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸ್ನ ಸೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಫೈನಲಿ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟಾರ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ, ನಮಗೆ ಎಫೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ, ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಕಾಣಿಸುತ್ತೆ, ವಾಲಂಟರಿ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಹೌ the forebrain, the main thinking part of the brain works. So the main thinking part of the brain, forebrain ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ. forebrainನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಇನ್ನೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಡೀಪಾಗಿ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ we find cerebrum and diencephalon. ಸೊ ಸೆರೆಬ್ರಮ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ದ ಸೀಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಾನ್ಷಿಯಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಸೆರೆಬ್ರಮ್ ಕವರ್ಸ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ 80% ಆಫ್ ದ ಬ್ರೈನ್. ದ ಟೋಟಲ್ ಬ್ರೈನಲ್ಲಿ 80% ಆಫ್ ದ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ಲಿ ಕವರ್ಡ್ ಬೈ cerebrum. And when you look at the cerebrum, when you look at this part of the brain, the forebrain, ಏನಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಡ್ಜಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಡೀಪ್ ರಿಡ್ಜಸ್ ಇದೆ. These are referred to as convolutions. The surface of the brain, forebrain surface ಅಲ್ಲಿ we find that there are deep ridges. So these are referred to as convolutions. ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ convolutions ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Deep ridges ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, these are convolutions. So cerebrum has got various convolutions. And cerebrum is referred to as the seat of consciousness. Cerebrum is referred to as the seat of consciousness because various conscious actions are performed by cerebrum. ಯಾವ್ದು ಕಾನ್ಷಿಯಸ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಷನ್ಸು? ಕಾನ್ಷಿಯಸ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್, ನಾನೀಗ ಚೇರ್ ಮೂವ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ ಬೇಡವಾ, ನಾನೇನಾದರೂ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ನ ಲಿಫ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾ ಬೇಡವಾ, ನಾನೀಗ ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಾ ಬೇಡವಾ, ಎಷ್ಟು ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಬರೀಲಿ, ನಾಳೆ ಸಬ್ಮಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಿದೆ ಸೊ ಇವತ್ತು ಬರೆಯೋಣ, ಈ ಥರ ಡಿಸಿಷನ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್, logical thinking, analysis, interpretation, emotions, thoughts and various other activities like decision making or verbal thinking, logical reasoning irbohudu and all these things, imaginations, memory, the most important, memory, imaginations, idu elladukku karana yaru, cerebrum has got centers for all these things. As cerebrum has got centers for all these things like intelligence, memory, imaginations, decision making, analytical thinking, logical reasoning and all these things, emotions. So cerebrum is referred to as the seat of consciousness and that is followed by diencephalon. And I mean to say forebrain alli innond important part ide diencephalon anta. So diencephalon is mainly concerned with, diencephalon has got thalamus and hypothalamus and hypothalamus very important. We'll study about hypothalamus further. And also sometimes we feel hunger, appetite and we feel ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಊಟ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ we feel the feeling of fullness of stomach ಅನ್ನೋ ಫೀಲಿಂಗ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. So all these things, these many activities are something concerned with forebrain, that is diencephalon part of it. The next that is followed by midbrain. ಮಿಡ್ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ ಫೋರ್ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ಮಿಡ್ ಬ್ರೈನ್. ಸೊ ಮಿಡ್ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೇನ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ಸರ್ನ್ ವಿತ್ ಇನ್ವಾಲಂಟರಿ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸ್. some of the involuntary activities are performed by midbrain. ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಯಾವ ಥರದ್ದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನೆಕ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಹೆಡ್ಡಿಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂಥ ಇನ್ವಾಲಂಟರಿ ಅಥವಾ ಸಡನ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂಥ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಸ್ಸು ಮಿಡ್ ಬ್ರೈನ್ಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಿರೋದಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ವೆನ್ ಸಮ್ಮನ್ ಕಾಲ್ಸ್ ಬೈ ಯೋರ್ ನೇಮ್, ಯು ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ಲಿ ಟರ್ನ್. ಯಾರೋ ದೂರದಿಂದ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರನ್ನ ಕೂಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಹಿಂದ್ಗಡೆ ಯಾರೋ, ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಟರ್ನ್ ಆಗ್ತೀವಿ. ಹೆಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನೆಕ್ ಮೂಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂಥ ಇನ್ವಾಲಂಟರಿ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಆರ್ ಶೋನ್ ಬೈ ದಿಸ್ ಮಿಡ್ ಬ್ರೈನ್. So that is the significance or the function of midbrain. Is this clear to you? And this is followed by hypothalamus. I'll mention it later. I'll give you a table wherein I'll mention the functions of hypothalamus also. Pituitary gland, very important, endocrinally ನಾವು ಇದನ್ನು ಕಲಿತೀವಿ, important gland. And that is followed by hindbrain. We need to know something about hindbrain also. So hindbrain-ಅಲ್ಲಿ we come across pons, medulla oblongata and cerebellum. I need to mention about cerebellum here. I told you cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. It constitutes about 80% of the brain, and the second largest part of the brain is this cerebellum. Cerebellum is this part of the brain is cerebellum. This entire portion is referred to as cerebellum. So cerebellum is the second most important or second largest part of the brain is cerebellum. What is the significance? Cerebellum yak important? Cerebellum is very very important because it is concerned with maintaining posture, right posture or precision of our voluntary actions, posture and balance in the body, very very important. ಸೊ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಾಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್, ನಾವು ಮಾಡೋ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸಲ್ಲಿ, ವಾಲಂಟರಿ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸಲ್ಲಿ ದೆರ್ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ಬಿ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್. ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿರಬೇಕು, ಪದಗಳು ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಬರಬೇಕು. ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ ಪ್ರಿಸೈಸ್ಲಿ, ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ಲಿ. ಹೌದು ತಾನೆ? ಹೇಗೆಗೂ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರೆ, ತೊದಲು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರೆ, ಅಥವಾ ನಾವು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮೆಚ್ಯೂರ್ ಆದಮೇಲೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ವಿ ಅಥವಾ ತೊದಲು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂದರೆ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಅಬ್ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಹೌದು ತಾನೆ? ಸೊ ಸೆರೆಬಿಲಮ್ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲಿ ಅಷ್ಟು ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಕಿಡ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ ಬೆಳೀತಾ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಓವರಾಲ್ ಬಾಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬೆಳೀತಾ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಸೆರೆಬಿಲಮ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಒನ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕನ್ಸರ್ನ್ ವಿತ್ ಮೇಂಟೈನಿಂಗ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್. ಮಾತಾಡುವಾಗ ಪದಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟ ಇರಬೇಕು, ನಾವು ನಡೆಯುವಾಗ ನೇರವಾಗಿ ನಡಿಬೇಕು. ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ವಾಕ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟ್, ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಎರೆಕ್ಟ್, ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ಸಿಟ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟ್. ಹೌದು ತಾನೆ? ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡುವಾಗ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕು, ನಡೆಯುವಾಗ ಸ್ಟ್ರೇಟಾಗಿ ನಡಿಬೇಕು. ಓಲಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಸೊಟ್ಟ ನಡೆದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು? ಇಂಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಏನು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಹೌದು ತಾನೆ? ನಾವು ಬೈಸಿಕಲ್, ವೆನ್ ಯು ರೈಡ್ ಎ ಬೈಸಿಕಲ್ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ರೈಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ. ಆಲ್ದೋ ಇನಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಜಸಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲಿಯುವಾಗ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ಒನ್ಸ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಡನ್ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ರೈಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ. ಹೌದು ತಾನೆ? ಬೈಸಿಕಲ್ನ ಹೇಗಿಗೋ ಸೊಟ್ಟ ಓಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋದರೆ ಏನಂತಾರೆ? ಸೈಕಲ್ ಹೊಡಿಯೋಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಾರೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಏನೋ ಇಂಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಬಾಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ವೈಲ್ ಯು ರೈಟ್ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ರೈಟ್ ಪ್ರಿಸೈಸ್ಲಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಇಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ನೀವು ಪೆನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುವಾಗ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸಮ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್. ಈ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಮಸ್ಟ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಶೇಕಿ. So all this balance is generated, or the main part of the brain that is involved in maintaining this balance is cerebellum. Maintaining the right posture. When you stand you should stand straight. When you sit you should sit straight and erect. So body posture maintain ಮಾಡೋದಿರಬಹುದು, balance maintain ಮಾಡೋದಿರಬಹುದು, or precision of voluntary actions. When you perform voluntary actions there must be precision. So all these things are maintained by cerebellum, very very important. So you must have seen a drunkard walking unsteadily. Drunkard ಹೇಗೆ ನಡೀತಾರೆ? ತುಂಬ ಓಲಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸೊಟ್ಟ ನಡೀತಾರೆ. Why? Because alcohol affects the cerebellum part of the brain. So ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅವರ ಒಂದು ವಾಕಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. Cerebellum is the most important part of the brain that is concerned with maintaining balance, maintaining the posture, precision of our voluntary actions. So hindbrain alli baruvanta important part cerebellum. And in hindbrain we also find pons and medulla oblongata. These two are concerned with involuntary actions. Most of the involuntary actions like blood pressure, salivation and mastication, facial expressions and digestive tract alli ಆಗೋ ಮೂಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, swallowing, coughing, vomiting, these are the involuntary activities. So most of the involuntary activities are maintained by this pons and medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata, the most posterior part of the brain. Hindbrain is the posterior part of the brain, and hindbrain only, when we look at medulla, it's the posterior most part of the brain. It further continues as spinal cord. Is this clear to you? The brain protected by cranium, and here we have got the forebrain. Forebrain is cerebrum, the most important, the seat of consciousness, forms 80% of the brain, the largest part of the brain. It has got many convolutions, and this is responsible for thinking. Most of the thinking activities performed by cerebrum and also diencephalon to some extent. And this is followed by midbrain. Midbrain, the middlemost portion of the brain, involved in certain involuntary activities, some sudden responses concerned with head and neck movements. And finally hindbrain. In the hindbrain we got to know the significance of cerebellum, pons, and followed by medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata is the posterior part of the brain, and it further continues. The posterior part of the brain as medulla, and it further continues as spinal cord. Is this clear to you, dear students? So now I'll write some description regarding all these parts. ಒಂದೊಂದೇ ಪಾರ್ಟಿನ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣದಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ಲೈನ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ಫಾಲೋಡ್ ಬೈ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್. ಐ ವಿಲ್ ರೈಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಡೌನ್. ಹೋಪ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್ ಅಂಟಿಲ್ ಹಿಯರ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫರ್ದರ್ ನಾನು ಏನು ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟು ಟೇಬಲ್ ಬರೀತಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಥವಾ ಡಿಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಷನ್ ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಬಬ್ಲಿ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಯು. ಸೊ ಲೆಟ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ವಿತ್ ದಟ್ ನೌ. Practice the diagram or the human brain diagram. It's very interesting, easy. Practice it well. So what I'll do now, I'll write a description, one line description and one line function of each part of the brain. You can add your points to this. First is the forebrain. Adding description to this, forebrain is the main thinking part of the brain. The main thinking part of the brain. It has got centers to receive impulses. It has regions to receive sensory impulses from various receptors. You can write those points, but I'll stop at this because I want to concentrate on cerebrum here. You find various points related to forebrain in your textbook, but in particular, in specific, I want to focus on cerebrum. So I'll write something about cerebrum now. Cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. Cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. That is, it constitutes about 80% of the brain. The surface of cerebrum. When you look at the surface of cerebrum, what did you find? The surface of the cerebrum is it has got some deeply folded ridges. It's deeply folded as ridges or deeply folded into ridges, and these are referred to as convolutions. These are referred to as convolutions, convolutions, convolutions. This is referred to as the seat of consciousness. Cerebrum is called as the seat of consciousness. I'll mention that in its functions, the functions of cerebrum. This is a description. These two lines form the description of cerebrum, and here I'll mark out the functions of cerebrum. It is called as, cerebrum is referred to as the seat of consciousness. The seat of consciousness, because many conscious activities like thinking, like conscious activities like imaginations, memory, memorizing something, and emotions, and reasoning part, the analytical thinking, or it could be any decision making. All these things are conscious activities, and these are performed by cerebrum, hence it is referred to as the seat of consciousness. You should know the reason why cerebrum is referred to as the seat of consciousness, because it has got centers for intelligence, memory, imaginations, decision making, etc. Hence it is referred to as the seat of consciousness. So I'll add the same. It has got centers for imaginations, emotions, intelligence, memory, emotions, reasoning, willpower, thoughts, etc. It receives information from the sense organs, interprets it, and finally gives out responses. The cerebrum, the largest part of the brain. And cerebrum, along with the cerebrum we have got another important part concerned with forebrain. What is that? Diencephalon. Phalon. Diencephalon consists of thalamus and hypothalamus. Hypothalamus, thalamus and hypothalamus. And I'll write something about hypothalamus now. Hypothalamus is very important because it is regarded as the link between, it is the link between the nervous system, of our body, and the endocrine system, of our body. Endocrine system. I told you that we'll have the feeling of hunger and feeling of fullness when we have full meal, and this is all because of this diencephalon, that is mainly hypothalamus. Hypothalamus regulates hypothalamus is mainly linked with, or it regulates body temperature, water balance inside our body, water balance, appetite, 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 and also sleep. The main important function of hypothalamus is to maintain homeostasis. Homeostasis is the important function performed by hypothalamus. Homeostasis is balance in the body, that is a good environment within the body, a healthy body. Internal health of the body is what homeostasis refers to. So homeostasis is the main function performed by hypothalamus. And hypothalamus, what is this homeostasis? Healthy and balanced state of the body. A very healthy and balanced state of the body is what is referred to as homeostasis, and that is the main task or function performed by hypothalamus. It maintains homeostasis. And this also regulates our body temperature, water balance, appetite and sleep, all these things. If all these things are very well maintained, definitely there is homeostasis inside our body. So this is the function of hypothalamus. Now let's move on to the midbrain, its description and its function. The second most important region of the brain, that is the midbrain. Midbrain is located in the middle of the brain, as you saw in the diagram. And this acts as a link between midbrain is something that acts as a link between, or it connects forebrain, midbrain. It connects forebrain and the hindbrain, forebrain and hindbrain. Now let's understand its functions now. It is mainly concerned with involuntary or sudden responses. Involuntary responses mainly related to involuntary responses or involuntary actions in specific or in particular. It is related to, it is concerned with the movements of neck and head, movements of neck and head, that too particularly in response to visual and auditory signals or stimuli. Visual and auditory. Visual and auditory stimuli. What does it mean? ಸಿ ನೀವೆಲ್ಲೋ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀರಿ, ಆಗಲೇ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ಯಾರೋ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರು ಕೂಗ್ತಾರೆ, ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟಾಗಿ ಟರ್ನ್ ಆಗ್ತೀವಿ, ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ರೋಡಲ್ಲಿ ನಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಿರ್ತೀರಿ, ಸಡನ್ನಾಗಿ ಈ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಪಿಕಾಕ್ ಒಂದು ನವಿಲು ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ? ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟಾಗಿ ಅದು ಯಾವ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೋ ಅದೇ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನಿಗೆ ನಾವು ತಿರುಗ್ತೀವಿ. ಹೆಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನೆಕ್ ಮೂಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟಾಗಿ ನಾವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ, ಯಾವ ಕಡೆ ಪಿಕಾಕ್ ಹೋಯ್ತೋ ಆ ಕಡೆ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್, ಸಮ್ ಇನ್ವಾಲಂಟರಿ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಬೈ ಮಿಡ್ ಬ್ರೈನ್. ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ it is concerned with the movements of neck and head in response to auditory and visual stimuli. So this is a function of midbrain. Hindbrain, the posterior part of the brain. It is the posterior part of the brain. Posterior part of the brain. It has got three regions. Hindbrain has got three regions. ಯಾವ್ದು? One is cerebellum, pons and medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata. oblongata. So let's understand the significance and function of each of these. Hope this description and function helps you, especially while you study, while you prepare for your tests and examinations. You can refer to this description. Cerebellum under hindbrain. So cerebellum, it is the second largest this is the second largest part of the brain. Functions. Functions, I told you, it is responsible for precision of our voluntary actions, precision of voluntary actions, I told you what it actually means, and it maintains, very important, maintains the posture of our body. Hope you have understood it. It maintains the posture of our body and also balance. Helps in maintaining balance of the body. Is this clear to you? Maintains the posture and balance of the body. The next important part of the hindbrain is pons. P-O-N-S, pons. There may appear a question in examination. Which part of the brain is involved in maintaining the posture or the balance of the body? So you'll write the answer as cerebellum. Or the question may appear like this. In which part of the brain do you find pons? Pons is seen in the hindbrain part of the brain. It is situated below. Pons is something. Description. If you have got to write the description of pons, you can describe it as, it is a part of hindbrain situated. It is a part of hindbrain situated below the midbrain, and definitely above medulla. Functions is mainly concerned with involuntary actions. Let's see what those involuntary actions pons is concerned with. It regulates mastication. What is this mastication? Mastication andre ಏನು? Mastication is something related to chewing. ಊಟ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ ಚೀವ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ವಾ, ಚೀವಿಂಗ್, ಊಟ ಜಗಿಯುವುದು. So mastication, it is something related to, that is pons is something that regulates mastication. Mastication is chewing, food chewing. And also it regulates facial expressions. ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಫೇಶಿಯಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಷನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ವ ನಾವು ದಿನದಲ್ಲಿ. ಫೇಶಿಯಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಷನ್ಸ್ and also respiration. It regulates respiration. Which part of hindbrain is concerned with regulating respiration ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ? Pons. It regulates mastication, food chewing, facial expressions. ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಫೇಶಿಯಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಷನ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಯಾರ ಜೊತೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ಮಾತಾಡುವಾಗ, ಹಾಡು ಹೇಳುವಾಗ ನೋಡಿರ್ತೀರಿ ನೀವು, ಅಥವಾ ಭಾಷಣ ಮಾಡುವಾಗಿರಬಹುದು. ಫೇಶಿಯಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಷನ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲದಲೇ ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಫೇಶಿಯಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ರೆಷನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಬೈ ಪಾನ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಿರೇಷನ್. The next part of the hindbrain is medulla oblongata. Is this visible to you? Medulla oblongata, I think it's visible to you. Oblongata, writing its description, ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಿ? It is the posterior most part of the brain. Medulla oblongata is the posterior most. ಹೈಂಡ್ ಬ್ರೈನೇ ಪೋಸ್ಟೀರಿಯರು. ಸೊ ಹೈಂಡ್ ಬ್ರೈನಲ್ಲೂ ದ ಪೋಸ್ಟೀರಿಯರ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಯಾವುದು? ಮೆಡುಲ್ಲಾ ಒಬ್ಲಾಂಗೇಟಾ. ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಪೋಸ್ಟೀರಿಯರ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬ್ರೈನ್. So let me write down its functions. Functions of medulla oblongata. I told you it's related to regulating some involuntary activities, especially involuntary activities related to digestive tracts. It's a posterior most part of the brain, and I'm here writing the functions of medulla oblongata. It's concerned with activities related to or involuntary activities like breathing, heartbeat, blood pressure, BP is blood pressure. Hope you'll understand it. Swallowing, coughing, coughing, vomiting, and also salivation. Salivation ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು? ನೀರೂರುವಿಕೆ. When you imagine your favorite food, you start salivating. So salivation is involuntary response. So the functions of medulla oblongata are that it is concerned with some involuntary activities like breathing, heartbeat, blood pressure, swallowing, coughing, vomiting, and salivation. So all these are involuntary, definitely involuntary in nature. But when we were discussing about pons, we can say mastication and facial expressions are not completely involuntary. They are to some extent voluntary also. Facial expressions and mastication are, we can regard them as voluntary in nature, whereas respiration is involuntary in nature. Dear students, hope today's session was really interesting and you all learned, understood the concepts, and I hope the description and the functions which I have written shall help you, especially while preparing for your tests and examinations. So let me wind up the session. Thank you all. Let's meet in the next class.